Good afternoon and welcome to the Art of Learning Self-Love. I'm Darla Williams. I'm your intuitive transformational therapist, and we're here today to talk about the art of learning self-love. And what does that really mean? How do we begin loving ourselves? So today's topic, and I really want to go around here in a minute and get everyone's thoughts on what it means for them and whether or not affirmations are important to you. So, what they mean for you, what they do for you, and also maybe share one that's really relevant for you today. Affirmations are extremely important to me. So, what I want to do is I want to share one, and I'm going to actually start with one that isn't so typical. I'm going to use a poem to start off today because it really, really empowered me at one point in my life. I figured out it was always marked as it being an anonymous writer who wrote the poem, but I later found out that it was actually Mary Kay Ash, and she does beauty cosmetics, and a lot of people know the name. I happened to go to a tour of her office, and on the wall was the poem right behind her desk with her name. And it was like, she was the anonymous writer of On Silver Wings. So for me, for many, many years, one of the poems that motivated me was, I have a premonition that soars on silver wings. It's a dream of your accomplishments, of many wondrous things. I do not know beneath which sky or where you'll challenge fate. I only know it will be high. I only know it will be great. And those words for me, like sung and like rang the inner bell to my body and said, it doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter if you're in this business or in another one. You have the potential of being great. And that greatness was equal to everyone. It wasn't just individuals, certain individuals. It wasn't a small percent. It was everyone. And no matter where you're at, you have that potential. But do you recognize it and do you know it? So affirmations really became a strong point for me because that was what I needed to rebuild myself when everybody else had torn me down. I call it broken before I began. The reason I use this painting up here, which I painted, this was a representation of who I once was. And when I painted that painting, I really felt that. That was where my life was. I was really broken. I'd had so many situations and circumstances that left me feeling so barren and so empty and alone. But over the years, and because of personal growth and development, and so many along that path, I've actually come to restoration. And that's what I choose to help other people through. Because that's what motivates me every day, to get up and know that I have a chance to touch somebody else's life and help them see that they too matter. God didn't have time to make a nobody. He only had time to make somebodies, and we certainly are those somebodies. So with that, does anyone here like affirmations? You can. If you do, go ahead and nod your head, raise your hand. And if you'd like, I'm going to start with Miss Jane over here, because I know she's chatty like me. So I'm going to go with her real quick and ask her, what is your favorite affirmation to build you up?
Favorite affirmation. I have a lot of them.
Oh, we may have paused. We may have lost.
My one that I say in jest, but yeah, I say when I'm really firing on all my cylinders. Oh, me? Hold on. Can you hear me?
I can now.
You hear me? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, there's I have kind of an odd but fun and one that really kind of speaks to me, and is that I will say to myself, today I am 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
That's great. How many of us feel like that sometimes?
Hmm.
Or
Not
do we need
enough.
to, or do we need to tune more into that?
Hmm.
John, how about you? Do you use affirmations?
No, I don't.
Hmm. So how do you encourage somebody else around you?
I just tell them, get up or I'll beat you up.
Well, we got to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps sometimes.
No, I listen, I'm not very good at this whole self-love thing. I think that's fairly obvious after last week. But no, I really don't do any affirmations. I really haven't delved into any of this area at all. I just get up and go.
Okay. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, truly, maybe that your experience has not just, maybe this is that time for you to begin learning that. And I want you to
Uh,
know that we all show up right on time.
Marla, it's not that I'm against affirmations. I've just never done any. I've never tried them. So I have no experience with them.
Perfect. Well, welcome to the class that has 90 of them that I eventually intend to actually create little flip cards where people can shuffle their cards and pick an affirmation of the day, as well as a PDF and a book in regards to this. So there's several different things that I'm working on right now that'll be coming out soon. Um, but affirmations, one of the things, some people are driven by different things. We all have love languages. My biggest love language for myself is encouragement. That was one of the ones I recognized very prominently for over the extent of my life. And this is what I'll go around and talk about that real quick, just to give you a little bit more insight for everyone here on the platform. There are there are 5 types of love languages. And when we look at the 5 different love languages, what do we have? We have the acts of service, we have the gift giving and gift receiving, we have physical touch, we have affirmations or encouragement, encouraging words, or we have quality time. So each individual is going to have their own thing in regards to that. So sometimes the affirmations are not always relevant for certain people. It may actually be more of one-on-one with someone and having that quiet time together that's just so genuine and loving and kind that makes it feel like a form of intimacy. It doesn't have to be, when I say intimacy, that just means a intimate time between two or more that is extremely important. That doesn't actually mean acts of sex or anything like that. Intimacy is just being close and drawn, and it's a connection. So when looking at that, everyone has their own, and everyone feels differently when it comes to that. Like, I know there are many women out there that you can show up and hand them jewelry and flowers and chocolates, and that's absolutely extravagant to them, and they feel so loved when they receive that. Well, there's other ones that want a cute little card that says, how they felt and I'm so thankful for, or, you mean the world to me, or, saying, hey, you know what, when you wear that, it looks really good on you. It's just feeding that. And for myself personally, I realized affirmations were so important to me because I had never heard those uplifting words while I was growing up. It was always just whatever, there was a lot of things that I had to go through to build and learn what I teach now. So, we all have our journeys, and it's all important, and that's what this is about. So I'm going to go ahead and move to Dr. Janet. What is your favorite affirmation? Oh, you're still on mute, love.
I think what I have found is the most powerful when I'm meditating is I am. I am. I am that I am. And I am that whatever, I am that I am is where I kind of hang out. And I go to gratitude too, like I mentioned earlier, I am grateful and just begin with that. But all affirmations I always keep in that I am present.
Perfect. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I'm going to go ahead. Thank you so much, Janet. And I'm going to ask, I don't know who's on the iPhone that came in today. I'm glad you're here. I didn't know how to address you other than iPhone. So did you want to jump in and just share a little bit about what you think about affirmations or if you use them? And it's okay if that's uncomfortable. There's no need to jump on if you're not comfortable. She says yes, hello, or he says yes, hello. They're great. I'm good enough. Yes, you are. Everyone needs to hear that. I'm good enough. I am good enough. That's actually really important. And Colette, would you mind jumping
Hello.
on?
Yeah. Hi, how are you? I'm just in from work, so I don't look too good. I've started loads of different courses over the years, self-help, self-development, whatever you want to call them, and start doing affirmations. But the problem is the consistency. So it's very hard in a busy life to, when I'm working full time and grown-up family, elderly parents to take time for myself. So I think that's my main problem. I know lots of affirmations. I just need to maybe to put them up in my room and start saying them as I get up in the morning or something.
Right. Well, I think that this is going to be a really great call for you then, because this is really going to tune you into learning how to quickly address that and begin setting yourself up for success to love yourself each and every day. Because
Okay.
that is what I'm all about, is helping people to come into that. And Tony, I know that you're on here and you look really inquisitive and ready to jump in. So do you use affirmations or are you here to learn more about that?
Well, I sure do. In fact, most of the guys who were in my masterclass know that we talked about affirmations earlier, and that's how I could have let you know. I knew John didn't use them because he asked about them earlier. So I am like Janet. I use the I am statements. I'm very big on I am statements, and I'm just going through my list here when you were asking because I've got many of them, and I read them all. But one of the ones that's one of my favorite is I am 100% committed to my word, and doing what I say I am going to do is a top priority of mine.
Beautiful. So you are a man of integrity and know when you see those who are not full of integrity,
Yes, and
which is good.
not just integrity with others, but integrity with myself as well.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Because when you focus within, you're able to identify without, everything that's going on outside of us. So that's why one of the things for myself, when I was at my lowest, when it came down to affirmations, those were the words that I needed to hear. So I was worthy when I felt like I was less than. I don't know how many times that people go through life and they feel like they're not being heard, that they're not able to express themselves fully, that they feel that they've been cut off and like left to be alone with their own words going, did I matter? Did I feel like do I feel like I'm enough? Well, nobody else wanted to hear that. So sometimes the way others respond to us will make us change the vibration of how we feel, and we fall into those lower vibrations. So what I want to do is help everyone to learn, like, how to begin applying those things for themselves. I use the morning time when I walk into the bathroom after I've used the restroom, started my day, washed my hands, and I'm standing in front of that mirror. I got to look up at myself because there were too many years of my life that I passed that mirror without looking, that I made sure that it was steamy before I was getting myself ready because I didn't want to see. And it was because of the life that I had had, because there were many times when I looked in that mirror, I wasn't looking at myself. I was seeing the aftermath of what other people had done to me. I, I was one time a victim of domestic violence. So going through that, I couldn't, because of the shame that was placed on me through others, that I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. So the reason why this is such a passionate place for me is because I know what it feels like to be desperate. I know what it feels like to beg others to actually pay attention. I know what it feels like to have some, just to hope and beg for another to hear what I was saying. And those are the things that we do when we're out of alignment. Those are the things that we've all done it. We've all wish somebody else would love us the way we want it to be loved. It could be a parent. It can be a high school sweetheart. It could have been a devastating relationship where there was betrayal. It could be those who have put their hands on us in inappropriate ways. It can be from a slew of different situations. And what I have found is none of those situations have any space in my life once I learned who I was. That's the key to every single one of us. When we learn who we are, we have been raised in a model that teaches us to pay attention to everyone else but ourselves. We are to scoop ourselves under the rug and pretend that our feelings are less important than everyone else's. And this is what we've all been raised through. And it's just the way it has always been. And I realized a few years back, and I'll tell you, I got made fun of at first when I started this. I'm not going to say this was an easy area to move into. People literally, I have had coaches that sat with me and said, Darla, there's no money in this. You need to let it go. And I was like, no, there's something about it. I have to keep going. I completely defied all of those recommendations because of the fact that I knew that it had changed me. And I was a hard cookie to crush through. I was tough. I had come from some things that really made me speak ways that I can't even believe I used to talk that way. That it just changed the dynamics. And encouragement and affirmations is what really changed it for me. But it wasn't because I used to wish somebody else would tell me that I was beautiful. I used to wish somebody would say how much they appreciated the little things that I would do throughout the day. And I used to wish that my partners would really take notice to the fact that I did care. And I was always looking outside of me. I was looking for approval. I was looking for acceptance. I was looking for someone else to tell me. And nobody else came along and did it. But I can tell you today, now that I've been in this for several years, there's not a day that goes by that I don't hear those words that I was longing for. There's not a day that goes by that someone doesn't say some kind of compliment as I walk past somebody in a store. And it was because I was investing that into everyone else. But it didn't shift until I invested it into myself. When I began getting up every day, when I decided that I needed to identify myself and what it was that I needed, that was when the big change and the big shift happened. So I don't want to get too far yet into what I'm saying. I want to still make sure that everyone gets a chance. I know that Russell as well as Kathleen, I haven't asked yet in regards, and Catherine. Those three have not had a chance yet to share an affirmation. So Russell, go ahead. You're already unmuted. He's ready.
Well, before I walked away from my business due to stress a couple of years ago, I had an affirmation that, because I was mostly self-trained, and I was my own boss, I had nobody to ask for help. I had an affirmation that I don't know if you're going to like it, but it was that you can do this. A lesser man can do this, so you can do it. And
you encouraged you to get up and do it.
I eliminated any possible barriers because I am I am confident with my faculties, and I just went diving into every challenge, and I'm human, so I probably had 99% success, and I had to be very happy with that, and so I was.
Perfect. But that one worked for you. That's what's important. That's the key to why we use them, is how it works for us. I have a friend who jokingly tells me every time I say, did you use your affirmations today? You know, because I work with her sometimes on stuff. And she's like, oh yeah, I used my anagram. I mixed that shit up. And I'm like, that's not what I meant, but okay, that'll work, because that's her approach. It makes her have fun. And I absolutely adore her, because she does. She will mix everything up, make it all her own way. And that's just the uniqueness of each and every one of us. So for her, she's just fun. And she definitely brings me through some challenging perspectives that allow me to grow. You know, when you have the student arrives, the student is actually the teacher. I have to say that. I have to be the one to say that. The student is truly the teacher, because your students are going to bring in such a different array of things that you're going to have to learn and stretch yourself to be able to meet them and accommodate it. So I actually enjoy that part of the coaching aspect for myself. Now, Catherine, I'm going to go to you real quick in regards to your affirmation. What is one that you use?
The one I use a lot in the morning is, I give thanks for this perfect day where miracle shall follow miracle and wonder shall never cease.
Beautiful. That is beautiful. If anybody, would you type that one in the chats?
Sure.
Thank you. I love that. I love that you are leaving room for things that are beyond you. You're opening a space to speaking into the universe, going, hey, I know that you can provide me some miracles I don't even know how to get a hold of. I like that. And Kathleen, I said your name wrong. Sorry, hon. Kathleen.
Hi, Darla. How are you?
Doing good.
First, I really enjoyed how you explained the first bit with the two pictures behind you. Just could relate to that so much. So very simple, but brilliant explanation. It wasn't until about 2 years ago that I started using affirmations myself, when I started my own personal development journey. And I suppose I use the ones I am confident, I am worthy, and then I do a lot of I am grateful. So I would actually write down 10 things that I'm grateful for every day. So that's kind of the way I would work it anyway.
Perfect. Perfect. I love that. And I like how everyone in here is already really aware of that affirmation of the I am, the great power that actually dwells within each and every one of us. And, you know, that part is so important. What we recognize ourselves with is the empowerment. When I say, oh, man, I don't want to do that, then every cell in my entire body resonates with, I don't want to do that, and makes every possible complication that it could possibly come up. It literally changes the molecules within your entire structure. What you speak has the power of life and death. The life of what you want to build, or the death of what you're trying to create. So what we have to really be mindful of what we say. You know, when we think about our words and we go, "Ooh, what is it that I'm spending time at it saying all day long?" is going to literally begin to show you what you can accomplish versus what is going to be hindered. And if I get up each day and go, "Ah, I don't feel like getting up today," well, I'm not going to show up in all of me. But if I get up and I'm like, all right, today is a great day. Okay. Why? I don't know, but it is. I'm leaving the room for the universe to show up in my life and make it absolutely extraordinary because I got up and chose to be excited about it. I set the tune to everything in my life. The way I feel, the way I think, the way I receive other people in my life. What I think about, I bring about. So the power of affirmations is really strong. And for myself, when I was so low in my life, I began writing things for me to actually expand on that. I was going through an old box because I'm sort of getting things out that I just, I moved within the last year, and there was still stuff stuck in a box, and I grabbed that box out to clear it. And I had to giggle because I ran into, those little things we store away. This was the little book that I started The Art of Learning Self-Love in. It was all my notes as I started collaborating through and going, how am I doing this? With some of the interactions to the first initial people that I spoke to. And it was like right on time. This is what I love about the universe. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm launching now out into your beta, into this space here with everyone. And I'm bringing something I've been working through and looking at and bringing myself through all the little glitches along the way. And just as I'm sitting down at the computer saying, okay, I'm getting ready, I'm going to go ahead and start that coming up in another week or so. I'm going to start writing out what I want to write about the art of learning self-love. And I'm making my notes in my calendar to be on point. And what do I stumble into when I open a box? Every note from what I wrote in the beginning. So what I love about that is the fact that, the universe is always right on time. We will get in our thoughts and think we're supposed to be doing this or we're supposed to be doing that, and we should be over here and we should be over there. But in all actuality, we're exactly where we're supposed to be every single time, or we wouldn't be there. Sometimes it's because we're there to bring the light into that situation and be that encouragement to another, or that hope for something, or that that resolution to the situation, or whatever it might be. But sometimes we're on the end of learning. And that was the part that was the hardest for me to get into. So when I talk about it in here, it's literally, I'm sharing it so that people understand we all have to go through that. To shifting it from looking outside of us to looking within. That's what we have to do. Because once we look within ourselves and we can begin identifying what it is that we need, what it is that we want, what it is that is important to us, and what it is that we need to uproot from our pasts through the different types of coaching and different modalities that we use to assist others. Like I use the fountain and a few other techniques. So in my practice, that's what I do, is I help people to transmute some of this backstory and bring us out so that we can begin growing and thriving in a world that we deserve. But we have to believe it. I spent many years going, man, why can't my mom just believe in me? Why can't my dad tell me he's proud? Look at all of these accomplishments I did, even though we were going through this or that. Why can't? Why can't? Well, I never received a single one of those words that I needed until I gave it to myself. When I got up and said, you know what, regardless of what the rest of the world thinks, I know I can. When I said I could, when everyone else came to me and said, oh, darling, I can't go and do that. And I said, watch me. I already did the research. I already know what I'm doing. I didn't say a single word until I figured it out. One of the things that we do is sometimes we'll get ahead of ourselves and we'll allow the naysayers inside our head and talk us out of the great experiences that we were supposed to have. If you're sitting on any of those, write them out. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Remember, the universe wants to meet you and gave you a dream. The universe didn't give that dream to everyone else. There's something you're here for. And it's okay for you to be that different person. We're visionaries. That's what we do. We create the things. You know, when I look back and I heard the story about the Wright brothers and creating from working as at the bicycle shop and decided they wanted to create an airplane that flew, and everybody thought they were absolutely nuts. You can't do that. Watch me. That's the part that I love, is when we get into that place that the world says you can't. You wouldn't have the idea if you couldn't. There's a way. There's always a way. Over, under, around, or through, there ain't anything we can't do. But we have to believe that in ourselves. So when I'm looking at a challenge, I'm going to lay that thing in the middle of the table and I'm going to look at it from every prospective space in the house and look at that situation. And over time, that piece of paper could sit there a month. It could sit there 6 months. But eventually, I'm going to find the answers to whatever problem I'm trying to solve. Because those who are meant to be in my world are going to show up right on time, and they're going to be bringing those little bits of pieces of information just as I am every single day. So when we start living our lives in a way that allows us to actually tune into it, to ourselves, it shifts us from depending on others to pursuing ourselves. If I pursue myself with the same with the same energy as I was pursuing somebody of interest to date or to work with and collaborate with, or to resolve a situation, if I was pursuing myself with the same energies that I would give to others, it changes it for me. It literally shifts me, where now I'm giving to me as much as I'm giving to everyone else. Love starts inside, not outside. I don't know how many times in a relationship I can remember myself saying, you never do anything to make me feel important. I can remember saying that. I can remember saying, all I ask all the time is, can't you just love me? Can't you just share with me? And they would look at me and say, what? What do you want to hear? Because I had never sat down with myself. I couldn't tell them. I was like, why can't you just do it? Why can't you just do what I need? They can't do it until I can actually put words and articulate it. How can someone know that I need to be encouraged? That my love tank for me is encouragement. How can anybody know that if I don't say, I give out affirmations and encouragement all day long because that's what I need. So I need somebody that wants to come and do that for me. That's a requirement. Now it's not that I'm demanding somebody to do something that they can't do. Now it's finding the proper person who already does it, so it's being met. So you want somebody that you're compatible with and actually meeting those needs because you've identified them within yourself. We could spend all day long saying, oh my gosh, why don't you get me anything? But what do you want? I don't know. I just want something. Surprise me. They're going to go around the store going, is the pin enough? Hopefully the pin's good. I don't know. But if I can say, you know what? I really love when I have flowers in the middle of my table. I think that it brings light to the room and it makes me feel good when I stop and bend down and smell them. Then all of a sudden, my partner knows, hey, I might need some flowers because one, I bought them myself. They were already sitting there before they even arrived in my life. And then they're going, oh, this person needs flowers because it's already there. When I want to go out to the wonderful restaurants and I want to go and do these great things with my partner, how do I get there? I start with myself. I have to treat myself to these wonderful things first because I deserve them already, with or without somebody else. I cannot wait for somebody else to come in and go, yeah, that's what Darla needs, because they don't know. I have to wait and go, oh, this is the person. Okay, now we're having discussions. Oh, you know what? This is something that's really important to me. So we're able to go back and forth and find out what the other person needs because we both know who we are. So that's when you can begin finding those relationships that flow together, like the cogs in the clock. You know, when you get the little working pieces inside, that's how we begin flowing and functioning together. Because now we know what we need. So we can say, oh, I need somebody that's secure and confident within themselves, but they're also financially secure enough to handle themselves. They can pay their bills with or without me. And I can contribute and be there to pay them just as well. Now, you've got two finances coming together that can both pay your way. Nobody's carrying the other. There's nothing there that's depleting the other person or exhausting the other person and making them feel I'm carrying all the weight. There's compatibility. This is how we begin finding it, though, is looking at ourselves. And it starts with us building ourselves up, building the confidence within ourselves and knowing who we are. So I want you guys this week to take for yourselves and find that one affirmation that truly, like, even if you have to create it, that just makes you feel empowered, that takes you from this vibration that you're sitting at right now and just sort of kicks it up a notch. For myself, when I really need that one, I go and tell myself in the mirror, I radiate self-confidence. I radiate that stuff everywhere I go. I radiate self-confidence. Why? Because I'm confident that I'm secure in myself, that nothing that anyone else says can shake who I am. Because I know who I am inside and out, and I'm authentic. When I'm authentic, that's the key. Become authentic. Become yourself. And don't worry what other people think, because they're too busy worrying about what you think. We're all doing the same thing. What is so-and-so thinking? What is so-and-so thinking? I had to get out of that years ago. It doesn't matter, because you know what? They're too busy worried about what everybody else is thinking too. They're not thinking about that at all. We're all doing the same thing. Oh, does somebody else think that? Why? Why waste such time when all we need to do is just tune into ourselves and go, oh, okay, yeah. And if you're full of joy when you're doing it, other people are going to be filled with joy because you did it. But if you are feeling about it, that's probably where that place is in your life that it's a no, and you shouldn't be doing it anyways. So check with yourself. When somebody comes at you and says, hey, can you do this? Really stop and ask yourself, can I do that? Then say yes or no. Because when we go, oh, sure, and then we look back at our schedules and we go, I don't have time for that. And then you're trying to borrow time from this or call in somebody else and rescheduling that and trying to mix and rearrange everything and make it work. And then that takes time too away from everything. So really stop. So take time to write yourself an affirmation this week and practice taking time to stop and ask yourself, do I have time for this? And then answer. And it will change the dynamics of how you begin showing up for yourself as well as everyone else. Does anybody have any questions? Comments? What it made you guys think about? Go ahead.
Hey, Darla, I love that idea of writing your problem on a piece of paper and then looking at it from other angles. So the intention is, I can solve this. I really, really enjoyed that tonight. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah, not a problem. That is awesome. It will totally change, and allow yourself to tune into the energies and the frequencies that are around you. I don't know if you're about energy or anything like that. Being an intuitive transformational therapist, obviously intuition, using that gauge inside of me to navigate what I'm doing. So energy, and I'm going to explain that real quick so everybody has an understanding of why. I was born hearing impaired, and I only hear 30% without my hearing aids. I've spent all of my life until June of this year living with only 30% hearing. So my whole life, I have had to live by my intuition, by energy. A lot of sounds in life came to me in the form of energy. That was where I compensated for my lack or my inability because I was without a sound. 70% of the sounds of the world is very overwhelming, by the way. Processing those things recently has been really hard. I'm not going to say it wasn't, it's not an easy journey, and I'm still in it right now. But I can honestly state that for me, reading energy became very easy because most of the sounds I actually recognized came from what I felt, from a vibration, from something like if I put my hand on a speaker, I could hear the rest of the sounds. I couldn't hear them, but I could feel them. I learned how to sing by using a device that showed me the tone, and then I would teach my voice to get there, to learn how to speak. So I had to share that because sometimes others don't understand the energy the way I do, because that was the sense that I picked up to begin being able to hear people and identify others. So sometimes, that was one of the things that was also from past relations and circumstances that I went through when I was going through abuse. What later I realized is the energy there was because I had so much to give that those who take come in and take. I had to learn a boundary, and I didn't have that because I was just a feeling person. So there was a lot of things that happened. But yeah, I wanted to share that. If you don't know how to tune into energy, that's something else that I can help people to learn how to do, is tuning into themselves as well as others. But I also know that because of those circumstances with some of those relationships, it caused me to second guess my intuition a lot for many years. So it took me a long time to really get into balance within myself. So, but I can say though that the hypervigilance that comes from trauma was amplified in the area and the arena of energy as well around me. So when I was going through those things, it changed too. So there's a lot that we can learn in regards to how energy functions and what it does for us. That's probably another book I'll have to write, but that's later. much later. I have time for that. I'm like, I've got time for that. But in regards, I want you guys, if you guys need any help trying to begin identifying yourselves, please don't hesitate to reach out. I do gift a session for those who want to first find out what it's about, because I know that I'm not always going to be for everybody, but I'm going to be for certain people. And those people, I'm always open to assist. So I do want people to know the first initial meeting with me, I always gift a session, because you don't know me and I don't know you, and I don't know whether or not we're going to resonate together until we begin working. So that's one of the things that I do, and I will stay true to for as long as I'm in this arena and this field, is always gift a session. So if anybody is looking, I am available, and it's one free session. It's an hour to 90 minutes, depending on the severity of your situation, because sometimes 90 minutes is what it takes to actually get to one resolution with something, and it's on a rapid therapy. We work through. But outside of that, then I will talk more about, the charges and different things like that, what it costs, to do some of the different courses that I teach. So I want everybody to know that that's available as well to each and every one of you, if anybody needs that to start journeying. What does the Art of Learning Self-Love offer? I have 12 weeks, one-on-one sessions through that 90 days. You get a daily affirmation, a daily assignment to begin identifying yourselves, and then the weekly session that we get to one-on-one work on what it is in your life that's keeping you from loving yourself as well as others. Because it's a twofold. Once we love ourselves, we can love everyone, because we know who we are. So, yes, John.
Hi, Darla. Thank you very much for that. I suppose I am worried about my homework. As somebody who doesn't use affirmations, how am I meant to write an affirmation?
Okay. So when it comes down to, because you're new to this and not knowing how to identify, what is an affirmation? It is a statement that helps to empower you. So it can be an I am statement. It can be, I am worthy. I radiate self-confidence. Love is the master key to my success. You want to include you into your affirmation, because this is a statement that you can then recite in front of a mirror until you believe it. When I first said to myself, I radiate self-confidence, I was almost 300 pounds at the time when I said it. I had no self-worth. I thought I was doomed for the rest of my life to find every horrible situation I could possibly find. And I thought that this was the lot that I had, that was what the cards spoke for me forever. And it was really, really uncomfortable. I couldn't stand myself. So when I said it the first time and looked at myself in the mirror, I laughed at myself. I was like, oh yeah, that one was a good one. I really didn't believe it. And I mean, that's with every ounce of me, that's literally how I laughed about it. I was like, because it was a lie to me at the time when I began. I didn't see anything of worth within myself, but I could see the worth of the world around me. And that's all I wanted more than anything. And I had to turn around and give it to myself. I now am so saddened by the fact that there was a time in my life that I couldn't appreciate me, because I was pretty incredible even then. It took a long time for me to be able to look that girl in the mirror and say, yeah, you really are. So John, find something that you feel like you could begin to resonate with. Like I was saying, like, here we go. Let me grab out. I am worthy of the love I desire to have. Or God, source, and universe has a perfect plan. I am loved. I'm improving every day. I deserve having what I want. I value my self-worth. So there are many different ways to begin acknowledging ourselves and using it as a way to build ourselves. Like I radiate with self-confidence. And that was where I began, was trying to say that I radiated that, where I didn't have any of that in me yet. But now I'm this, I can literally be as silly as I want, go stand in front of that mirror, or be as cocky as I need to be, or as, subtle as I need to be. And I can go through all the different ranges that I need when it comes to that now. So if I need that power boost to go out and go talk to somebody that I might not know, and I might be like, oh, I haven't done this yet, and I'm a little apprehensive, I'm a little nervous about it, I can go in the bathroom, wherever I'm at, go in there for a second, look at myself in the mirror and say, I do radiate self-confidence. I do believe in myself, and I can do this now. Now I just literally shifted from being sad and myself going, oh, I'm going to go do this, to, oh, now I can tune into it. But it's a practice. It doesn't happen overnight. And I started this many years ago. So cool, Janet. So we're down to the last 2 minutes. And I didn't do a fountain healing. And if anybody needs one, you guys can reach out to me. And I do fountain healings for anybody who was in here last week that got to experience that. Some people are here hoping that I was going to do it again. If you need it, please reach out. I do provide them. I also have an audio that I can send you. It's a 13, almost 14-minute audio that I can just shoot you through Messenger, and you guys can sit and listen to it yourself. It helps to relieve anxiety. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, had as much as you can take, and you're ready to truly let that stuff go, I can send an audio for you guys to listen to this week as well. Any other questions? I think I answered part of your question. I think that was a 2-part question, John, that you had. Something about affirmations in regards to how do you use them.
It was, no, you have answered it actually, Darla. I was asking, how does somebody who doesn't use affirmations write an affirmation? But it's okay. I've got a few ideas in my head.
Okay. Also, it's literally just taking a minute for yourself and how to build that. And how to begin, and always borrowing others. If you don't have your own, you can always plug in and find one that really just fills your heart and goes, oh yeah, that feels good. I need that. Affirmations are everywhere. And then, like I was saying with the week, the other part was taking time for yourself to stop and pause and ask yourself, do I have time for this? With the holidays coming up, everybody's schedules are increasing, and everyone feels that they're constantly needing to be somewhere else other than taking care of their own needs. But they keep saying, oh, I need to get to that. I need to get to that. And all that's doing is creating a resistance to getting to that. So what we got to do is change the way that we're speaking over it and allowing ourselves to come back into that space so that we can go, oh, I made time for that because I didn't take on more than I should. So this holiday season, I want you guys to really be mindful of yourselves and take you into consideration as well, because you're just as important as everyone else. Blessings, love, and light. Much love. And so thank you for joining us. I'm sorry it was the end of the hour.
Thank you, Darla.
Thanks, Darla. It was
See you
wonderful.
next week.
Thank
Is
you,
it the
Darla.
same time next week, Darla?
Yes,
Brilliant.
same
Same
time next
link?
week.
Yeah,
Same link.
brilliant. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye for now. And John, go ahead and reach out to me if you need to this week.
I'll be in touch anyway about a few other things.
Okay,
Okay?
perfect.
Thank you, Darla.
I'm excited.
Thank you very much. That was
Yeah.
good.
You're due for a raise. You're doing good. Thank you, Darla. It's wonderful.
You guys
Bye,
are so
sweetheart.
awesome. I absolutely
Yeah.
appreciate you all.
Aw.
Okay,
Darla, we are all in this together. We're all on the yellow brick road.
Yes, we
Ready for
are.
games.
That is my
Ready
favorite
for
movie.
I know, absolutely. So
Gee.
if you can make it at 5, I'd love to see you.
Yes, ma'am. I got
All
you
right.
in my books.
How do you spell?
Love you. Got my 5-year-old with me.
Oh,
Bye.
love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Yes. How do I say your name?
Sheila.
It's Sheila. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that one.
Yeah, it's spelled in Irish. It's the Irish spelling, the Gaelic spelling.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling me that. I did not know. So Sheila, that's
worries.
a beautiful name.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I did record this. It is still being recorded. I might as well stop that now. Hold on.